Hi, everybody. It's Fitz, and I am super excited to welcome you to the Fitzness show today because I have not only one of the greatest people alive on the show, but he's also my poster boy. And not many people get to say that. He's an absolute poster boy and a representative of Fitzness, and he's not on the docket. I'm not paying him. But he's just a living example that the exact formula for weight loss works, and it's maintainable, and that a healthy lifestyle can change every aspect of your life. And I'm so proud to know this guy. And so I'm going to keep it to a minimum. But up front, I want to remind you guys that Gasparilla is coming up soon. That's May 8th and 9th. And my discount code is Fitzness 2021. But I want you to register. I'm going to be there. Start line, finish line, me making happy noise in the middle. And it's a hybrid race for sure, but we're going to have a blast. And I want to see you in Tampa, Florida. So go register for that. And now, drum roll, here comes Michael Jones.
Fitz, hey, how are you?
I'm so happy to see you.
I'm happy. I heard the Fitzness intro music, and that always makes me happy. I love listening to the upbeat Fitzness show, and I was dancing. Nobody could see it, thankfully, but it was fun.
Yeah, thank you. So here's the deal. I'm actually considering changing the music. My very talented video editing son has told me that I need to change the promo music if he is going to do a trailer for me. So what do you think?
Hey, change is good. Embrace it.
That's right. Be flexible. Look, and we've got some friends out there. We got Jen, Jade, hello, and Dave. And so anyone out there who's watching today, if you want to engage, just use the comment section. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Periscope, which is Twitter, and where's the other one? YouTube.
Cool.
So, Michael, poster child, Exhibit A. I'm going to let you lead a lot of this because I think you're a great storyteller. And, you know, besides being an absolute fitness phenom, Michael's now you're a regional president for a large healthcare company. And you've really changed your life.
I have. My whole perspective has changed since I met you. And it's been just a wild journey, a great journey. And I was looking back, I wrote, and I shared this with my wife, Christine. I'm an avid reader. I read all the time, and I'm part of a mastermind where it's called the Quote of the Day Book Club, but we get into some personal development and leadership books. And one of the ones I read on my own back in February 2016, you work on and you approach from the perspective of future you. What decisions can you make right now to impact future you? And the exercise was you get a sheet of paper and you fold it into quadrants, like fold it in half lengthwise and horizontally too. And then you put where you want to be in the future in 4 key areas of your health. And mine were health, fitness, family, and faith, I believe it was. But all those things that I put in February 2016 have now come true because of the hard work. And I love sharing you and all of the things that have been unleashed in me because of that.
Wow. And you nailed it there with hard work. And without that, we get nothing. It just stays on the paper. And 20 years from now, you look and you're like, damn it, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. So yes. I also forgot to mention that you are a superior father and a Navy veteran, which I love, and a total patriot. Yes? Yes,
I am. I love that. I went to basic training in the Navy when I was 17 years old. I turned 18 in boot camp in July. I reported at boot camp in June of 1990, and I just at that time we didn't have internet and all that stuff. So we got cards and letters, and I just prayed that nobody would send anything that identified it was my birthday, because we called them company commanders in the Navy. They call them drill instructors or drill sergeants. And if they find out it's your birthday or something special, you get some extra attention that day. So yeah, not in a good way. A lot of extra push-ups.
Oh, well, that actually sounds like a wonderful birthday to me, but
yeah. I'm a little back. But yeah, I love our country, and it's an honor to have been able to serve. I'm thankful for anybody who has served, and for families who have served in the military, the armed forces, police, first responders. It's just, we've got such an opportunity in America. It really is the land of opportunity. And one of the best decisions I made was to serve my country. And I I try to do as much as I can to support folks who serve and the ones that support them, because for every veteran, there's a family member who, when they're deployed, they're left there, caring for the kids and caring for the household. And it's a tough life.
Well, you actually put that to action as a patriot. We're going to talk about that today. So
Yeah.
You are over 80 pounds down from when I met you.
Yes.
And so I want you to tell the tale of how we met and how you got started.
Sure. So we actually were discussing somewhat of this. There's sort of concentric circles, and you think about the Venn diagram. One little thing touches another, and there have been communities that I've been a part of over the time since I've been a runner, and I've run. In the Navy I ran, and I've run pretty much all through my life, and I've done races all the time. I also love Disney, and there have been all kind of groups that have, some have stayed the course of time, some haven't. And the one that we met was through the Mickey Milers, and they had a podcast, and it was the Star Wars weekend. I want to say it was 2017. I can't remember, but I gotta tell you something on that point in a minute. But it was in April of 2017, I believe it was. You were a guest on the Mickey Milers podcast, and you shared this crazy thing called the exact formula for weight loss. And I was like, this sounds really cool, because I have an MBA, and I am a business-minded person, and I'm not fully analytical. Like, I'm not an engineer, but it sounded really cool. It's like I tried all these things like Stacker 2 and shakes and wraps and all the gimmicks. And I tried the low carb where I ate, bacon and hamburger meats with no bun and, all that. And you had this thing that was like, this sounds really, really legit. And I thought about it, and I researched it, and I said, there was a meetup, but of all places, a bakery on the boardwalk at Disney. And I was kind of introverted at that time. And so I said, I'm going to go and see what this meetup is all about. And there was this celebrity, Fitz Koehler. The Fitz Koehler was there. And you spent the time to talk to me, and you asked me about my goals. And I still wasn't all in at that time, but that's where we first met, was at a Run Disney event at a bakery.
At a bakery, that's right. And then so Michael quickly joined what I have online. It's, if you're not a part, it's on Facebook. It's my training group called the Hottie Body Fitzness Challenge.
Yep.
And I'll write that in the comment section soon. Everyone's welcome to join. But basically, I guide you very specifically on fitness training, give you daily workouts with video accompaniment so you know what to do, exact formula for weight loss. And then it's just a couple thousand people there to support each other. And so you joined.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to start getting involved after you met me and joined the Hottie Body group?
So it was a while, and I'll back up like 2 steps. So first of all, this is my Fitz anniversary. Just passed it. April 15th was the day I met you. So happy Fitz anniversary, Fitz.
My anniversary.
Yeah. And so the first part of that question, so it took me a little while. And any of y'all who are watching this live or who may watch it later, you might hear that phrase that Fitz threw out, the Hottie Body Fitzness Challenge, and the Hottie Body Facebook group. And it's completely free. There's no charge. Fitz will never ask you for a dime for all this expert advice and community. But I heard that name, Hottie Body, and at the time I was like, I stopped looking at the scale when I hit 270 pounds. And I was like, I am not a hottie body. I'm going to embarrass Fitz and the people in this group by false advertising. Basically, I'm going to be this fat guy in a hottie group. And I'm like, I'm no hottie. I can't join. And I kind of looked at it, and it's like, this is for people just like me. So I joined after a little while of kind of researching. So wanted to see what you think about that part first.
Well, I love that you say that. And it's so funny, the evolution of how the name of the group became. I used to host a thing. I was a fitness expert for AOL, and I had a column called The Holiday Hottie, where I just give out fitness advice. It's nothing I ever do is ever about looking hot in a thong. I never talk like, you look hot if you eat this way. I just, it's all about quality of life. But I had that name. And then a few years later, I thought, you know what? I really enjoyed helping people through the holidays. What could be what could I carry over that still works? So it was the Holiday Hottie. I had a group, and the group was so successful, and so many people lost so much weight while training for the holiday, or not while training for the holidays, and during the holidays, that I wanted to keep the group alive. And so I just took the word hottie. But you're right, it is an intimidating word. And, we talked about change being uncomfortable, and maybe it should be comfortable, but yeah, the name it's just a name, but you're right. It is a little bit of an intimidation factor, isn't it?
It is, and it's a lifestyle. So the first thing I want to share is, if you're that lady out there, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, oh my gosh, I couldn't join a group called the Hotties, or if you're a guy and you're significantly overweight, then you just take that first step and join that group. And I did it, and I joined, and there were some really amazing people in that group. And one of the first things that I noticed is the sense of community. Like, we're all there to support each other and help each other. And you may get called out for something that if you have something where you slip and you sidetrack and you continue to gain weight, if you're making good progress, but we do it because we care about one another. And you've said, by losing that weight and making the healthy changes, you can add 5, 10, 20 or more years to your life. So it's all about
Quality
supporting
years.
each other.
Quality.
Yes, yes. So going back to kind of my evolution, I joined the Hottie group, and I still wasn't completely all in on the formula, because I was like, this, it can't be. It's not as simple as logging your food. It's got to be, because my mind had been conditioned to, you got to follow this, eat low carb or keto or whatever. But once I embraced it, I was significantly overweight. So once I embraced it, the weight started to fall off, and I was like, this is really cool. Track your calories, eat everything you eat, and have your own budget. And so I was all in there, but I wasn't still all in on the strength training. And we can talk about that if you want to too.
Well, I just, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that. But you got started, and,
Yep.
what do you think you lost the first month?
So it was weird. It was like a plateau at a little point. So I lost probably a couple of 3 to 5 pounds, and then it started to get to be big numbers, and then I plateaued. And
When you
so
say
many
big
people in the group.
numbers, go back.
Yeah. So, what's that?
You said then it got to be big numbers. What is that? 10, 20?
Oh yeah, 8, 10, 12 pounds. Yeah. And it's just, once your body starts to respond, you realize, hey, I'm eating too much. So yeah. So it started to be big numbers, and then I just continued to stay the course. And I think I was 44 when I joined, and I'm turning 49 this year, but I think I was 44 when I joined the Hotties, and I started to see, well, I'm going to set myself a goal of losing 50 pounds by my 45th birthday. And as I started to go through the months, I was like, I'm going to soar past this in about April. So then I changed it to 70 by 45. And the more you stay with it, the more success you're going to see. And me and a lot of other people have seen that as you get closer and closer to your goal weight, it becomes harder to see those numbers and those changes on the scale. And sometimes you're going to be tempted to say, throw up your arms and forget it, but you're doing the right thing. So I just stayed the course, and I've maintained a weight. I stay between 189 and 191 right now. And I've kind of come to learn, I still log everything that I eat. So I've logged everything and logged into my Fitness every day for like 5 years. But it's just something where I have a goal to get down to 180. But on the other hand, I'm strength training a lot more, with a lot more of intensity and bigger weight. So it's like, maybe I'll get a good balance there. But yeah.
Well, for starters, thank you, Jen. He is a spring chicken. I agree, buck bok. But for those who are wondering, what is this? It's the exact formula for weight loss, and it's always on the cover of Fitzness.com. Fitzness right there. And it's just teaching you how to eat the right amount of the right food for the size you want to be. It's not a diet at all. There's no powders, no pills, no shakes, no supplements, no nothing, no money exchange between you and I. But the reality is, even if you eat healthy and you're overweight, it means you're eating too much. So with the formula, you basically throw a 0 on the end of your goal weight. That's your caloric budget. And then if you stick to that, your body will eventually shrink down to that size. Now, the article is much more thorough. So I highly recommend everyone just go read it. It'll take 5 minutes of your life. And if you actually, if you care about your health, it will change your life, because it's easy, right? It's a no-brainer.
It is, and you share one of the things that you'll probably discover as you implement and adapt the exact formula for you. Number one, you can sustain this for the rest of your life. And thank you, Jennifer. I'm a spring chicken, but I'm 49. I can be doing the exact formula when I'm 79, 89, whatever. It's something that you can do for life, and it's something that, as you start to look at different foods, yeah, you can eat donuts, but you can go overboard on your calories real quick. If you eat fish, chicken, veggies, whatever, you're going to be able to eat a lot better quality food, and you're going to be able to be full on it. If you eat 2 or 3 donuts, that might blow your budget right there. So
for the whole day. Yeah. So it allows people to understand what volume, quantity, quality versus, the sometimes foods. And I'm always preaching 85, 90% of your caloric intake is healthy, then you can have some wiggle room. You can have a couple beers, or you can have a piece of chocolate. There is wiggle room, and nobody should ever feel deprived, and definitely nobody should finish their day feeling hungry, right?
No, absolutely not. And if you discover the right kind of foods to eat, you'll actually, you'll eat enough to be satisfied all the time.
Yeah, and it's a learning process. People go, "Oh my God, I didn't realize in my bowl I was actually having 3 bowls of cereal, not just one, and I didn't realize I could be satisfied on half a Subway sandwich as opposed to a foot long." So I'm going to backtrack, because you were very overweight. You were a very overweight guy. What was your life like back then? How did you feel? How did you feel?
Well, and Tifa, we love you too, Tifa. So one of the things that was a big moment in my life, I used to travel a lot, and I still do travel locally, but it's more car travel. I used to fly pretty regularly. And one of those moments when I got in the seat in my plane, and I think it was a Delta flight, I don't remember, but I got in the seat in my plane, and I was just really struggling to get that seatbelt buckled around my waist. I was so heavy. And I was just praying that I wouldn't have to be embarrassed to ask the flight attendant for a belt extender. So as a heavy guy, I couldn't do the things like my daughter was into gymnastics, and I'm not going to do gymnastics with her, of course, but I couldn't be active and play basketball with her. As a leader in the business community, maybe you're not as respected as a leader if you're obese and you're overweight, because maybe you don't have the confidence inside of you. I certainly didn't, but I was always self-conscious about how I looked in certain situations, and just that feeling of always being judged was always out there. And it's a lot of times it's in your head. People don't, like, you have the tank top mandate. People don't care how anybody looks in a tank top, but as an overweight person, it just gets to the point where you want to give up, and just making those small incremental changes can have so much of an impact in so many different things in your life.
Now, when you were unfit, did you have pain? Were you tight and mobile? What was moving around in a almost 300-pound body feel like?
Yeah, I used to have chronic and constant back pain. And one of the things I told you was all the time where I was overweight, I still ran. I ran my first Disney marathon in 2004, and that was way back when the marathon and the half marathon was on the same day, and you loop backwards if you were doing the half. But I was always active, but I was always not healthy. And back pain, I mean, I was always struggling with back pain. I'd have to take Advil so much when I'd go to sleep, and it always, I never felt good. I never felt good about myself, and physically, I never, back pain was my biggest challenge.
So it's interesting to me, and we have a large audience of runners. I can imagine out of the live viewers right now, a good chunk are runners, and runners work so hard. They wake up really early. They put in so many miles. Running a long distance is very rewarding in so many ways and wonderful. And so I'm not poo-pooing running, but to work so hard, train for a marathon, and show up 12 pounds heavier than you were when you started training for a marathon. I think so many people think that running is a great secret to weight loss training. If you're going to train for a marathon, you can eat whatever you want, and you're living proof that that's just not the reality. You can never outrun overeating.
No. And I think you might have shared one time how many average steps you take in a marathon and how much
2,000
pounding.
steps per mile.
Yeah. So do the math in your head. If you've got, 18, 20, 30 pounds extra that you're carrying around, that cumulative effect is really, and I felt it. I really did.
Yeah, and the weight put down on each foot with each step when you're running is 3 times your body weight. So
Yep.
you were basically crashing almost 900 pounds down with each step. And so if you can imagine the reverberation up your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, each disc in your spinal column, that's egregious. That's a bad experience for your body. And again, I'm not discouraging people from running, but if you could get that 50-pound backpack off of your body with every step you took, you probably would run faster. You probably feel better about it.
Yes, absolutely.
So for all of our overweight runners that are watching, what's your advice to them?
You know, you're already making the steps to be healthy, and you've at least somewhere in your mind, you've accepted the fact that you want to do things to stay healthy. Well, why not commit? And you know, one of the things that I read last week was it's really easy to be committed to something like 95%, because in your brain you're acknowledging that there's a little bit of you that's really not fully committed, and you're always sort of looking for a loophole. But I want to challenge you to be committed 100%. If you're putting in those miles, you're getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, especially if you're training for a marathon. Do yourself the favor of really looking at your total fitness, and look at what you're eating, look at it, your you know. And I really, I'll be an advocate for the exact formula for the rest of my life. Look at the exact formula and commit that extra 5% and see what that does for you, because it'll make a world of difference. And then we can talk about strength training and stretching too. But you know, really look at your whole body.
Yeah, and again, guys, Michael was out there running, doing the miles. He wasn't losing the weight, and he finally started watching what he put in his mouth, and now he's over 80 pounds down. And so here's the other great part. And when Michael joined the Hottie group, I mean, just what a sweet soul. As you can tell, he's easy to just fall in love with and think, oh, this guy's so nice. And, you know, I wanted success for him, just like I want success for, you know, all of my hotties, all of my runners, everyone really. I'm just, you know, some people work for plaques on their wall, and I work for happy people in their jeans, or, you know, just feeling good about the life they're living. And so you joined and you started losing weight, and we communicated quite a bit. And I communicate with a lot of my people, but you and I communicated quite frequently. And I think I remember you being in a hotel gym, and we did a FaceTime, and you were just basically confessed you hadn't been strength training. I was like, why? And because with the Hottie Challenge, every day there's a graphic and it says maybe it'll say 20 minutes of elliptical trainer and 5 minutes of jump rope, and then do these 3 or 4 strength training exercises. And then there's video supplements to help you. Like there's me saying, okay, let's pick up your weights and do these. So there's no excuses. I make it mindless and numb. But you weren't sold on strength training. How did you compel yourself to give it a go? And then tell us about your progress once you did.
Yeah, so it's that extra 5%. I wanted to be 100% committed. And you always say, you know, it's not just one thing. You've got to focus on holistic, just like I said. So the strength training was something I knew I needed to do, but I'm dating myself. I'm showing my age here, but in the 80s, there was just this persona, I guess it is, or a mindset about people who go to the gym that have these tank tops, and they're the muscle guys and meatheads. And I never really got into lifting weights, and a lot of your strength training doesn't involve lifting weights, first of all. So I didn't really, you know, look into it deep enough to know that. But second of all, like, I didn't know if I wanted to be one of those meatheads. But once I really looked and I challenged those assumptions, once I looked at your strength training that you share, there are things like bench jumps and V-ups that you do on a plyometric jump box, those bench jumps, or on your weight bench. Yeah, V-ups. There's angry ups that are just amazing, and you know, it's really just something you can conquer. And then there are things like the dumbbell workouts and things like that. And so once you really, and I committed to give that a try, and I started to love it more and more and more and more. And then I would do it every day. And then, like you said, you've got, you know, 30 minutes of jump rope plus this, plus this, plus this. And I was like, well, heck, let's start doing jump rope too. And grew to love jump rope. And I felt better overall as I started to do those strength training things. And I started to use those dumbbells and fell in love with what you call your boyfriends. And I've got a little dumbbell rack over in the corner of my house. And I also go to a gym too. But strength training was awesome. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, and Michael's a great example of what we call the Michelangelo stage. And so people go, well, I'm not going to weight train until I lose weight, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. There's always these excuses, people saying, I'm not going to do this until I do that or whatever. But this is what happens is you shed all this weight, and the strength training, more muscle burns more calories than fat. So you will lose weight faster if you start strength training right away. But once you shed off that weight, we do the Michelangelo stage, which is sculpting. And so you've started really changing your body, and I can see the difference. What's your favorite things you've done to sculpt your body? What are your new showpieces?
So like the workouts I do, or the parts of my body that I sculpted?
It's your body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I really like the shoulders and biceps, and you know, I've kind of stepped up what I do for my strength training, and I'm doing a lot more with dumbbells. And Tammy's there, but I do like some of the cool things that I do is part of the training that I do. It incorporates a lot more dumbbells and a lot more work. So I've gotten into things called the Zotman curl and the Arnold press and things like that that I would have, like, 5 years ago, I would have run from. But I'm really working on my arms and shoulders, and again, I'm working the total body too. But our gyms have been open here in Alabama for a little while, but I still haven't gone recently. And I went back to my gym for the first time over the weekend, and I was walking by one of those full length mirrors, and I was like, whoa, I can really tell those Zotman curls and those Arnold presses, and you know, those things that I'm doing, they're paying off.
Oh yeah, they are big time. So, the question just fell out of my head. Bring it back. Hold on. It'll come back. Oh, here it is. Thank you for your patience. Have you always been good at everything I've assigned you? So if I've said do butt scoots and do jumping rope, have you always been a pro at these things?
Heck no. So there was at the Savannah Women's Half Marathon a few years ago. The Angry Up. How did I get a tone, Jerry? So there's one of the exercises called the I think we were doing the Angry Up, and
oh, that's right, Angry Ups, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so with the Angry Up, what you do is you get two dumbbells, and I try to get like light. Yeah, and I went with like 8 to 12 pounds. And so you go and you stand up and you just sit yourself on your butt down on the ground, and you lay back and you put the dumbbells over your head, and then you stand up without using your hands. And the challenge to do that was it's really hard. Like I would consider that an advanced move or workout or whatever, because it's hard. I mean, it didn't call it a nice up. It's called an Angry Up for a reason.
I custom made them up, and then I named them accordingly. So
yep. Yeah. So I struggle with that. And there was this mental block where whenever Angry Ups would come up in the daily workout, I'd be like, these Angry Ups. And I would sort of try it. And, you know, I had this thing in my brain that I couldn't do it. And so we were at the Savannah Women's Half Marathon a couple of years ago. And you called me up there to help demonstrate some things. And we did, I think, a plank and a V-up or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Fitz said, well, now Michael's going to show you my Angry Up. And I was like, no, I'm not doing an Angry Up. And I said, Fitz, I can't do that. And she said, yes, you can. You're going to do it. And I, you know, I struggled a little bit, and I think I had to cross my legs, which is kind of a intermediate move to get up. But I did it without using my hands. And I was like, whoa, this is something that can be done. So I love the Angry Up. And it's something that it really is. I mean, if you see that on the workouts that the interns and Fitz shares every day, it's something that's a cool, like it's a major accomplishment to make those progressions.
Yeah, and you certainly have. And with the catalog of workout videos I've created, is some of them are very, very mild. Some of them are something everybody's grandma can do. And then some of them are more challenging. And that's the goal, is people can come knowing absolutely nothing about fitness, never have exercise a day, and they can show up and start small and make progress. And then there will be these outliers, these exercises that are really challenging that you work up to. And then once you conquer them, it feels like you're standing on top of the world with your hands on your hips and your chin up high, right?
Yep. Yeah. And I've heard a quote, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So these things, they're challenging for a reason. And like you said, you're not throwing in just really, really difficult exercises, every single thing. You've got to have a balance, but throwing in these things that continue to push your limits, you know, that you'll never discover how awesome you can be till you try it.
Absolutely. So we're going to go back to your running shortly, but I want to talk about you as a person, because if you don't mind revealing, and I'm going to reveal it anyways, but when I met Michael, he was a little wishy-washy. He was always asking permission, apologizing to everyone for everything. And this is a man who doesn't do anything that ever requires apology. He's close to perfect on the gentle, dignified, chivalrous. He does so many things that are right, but he was always apologizing for himself. And I kept saying, Michael, stop apologizing. You're great. Go forward and keep doing your good things. And And now I just see so much more confident. You know who you are. I don't see the apologies. And maybe some people are like, oh, apologizing, it is nice. Yes, when you do something wrong, when you step on someone's foot or you hurt their feelings intentionally, you apologize. But you don't apologize for just taking up space. So what does it feel like to be in your head now versus then? Do you remember what it was like to be that guy?
Yeah, I really was timid, and I was, and there's a place for being timid, and there's a place for meekness, but I always was looking for permission to like you said, even if it was something that I had the best intentions and you know, for anything. And this extends to so many areas with my family, professionally, and everything. And one of the things that you helped me do to break that was the Fitz pinch. And for those of you that don't know, Fitz, she's got this tactic where she'll tell you to put a Fitz on your shoulder, or you know, and that's when you're making bad choices for eating, just have that little Fitz on your shoulder to say, you know, is this something I should do or not? And Fitz is going to give me that virtual pinch if I ever apologize for asking for something. And you know, you can really utilize those kind of tools, but I feel empowered now. And the things that I'm doing, like I really do have great intentions with everything I do. Sometimes maybe the execution isn't the best, and that's fine. But you know, I've got the best intentions. So as a person and as a leader, especially, like I've really developed, and I've become more confident, especially about the things that I do.
Do you think this is the reason you're sitting in your role with your company as a regional president?
Yeah, 100%. And I've even gone through a transition over the last several years with my career where there are some things where I had an experience where I was, you know, as a leader in my organization. I was with a different organization before. I really didn't take those bold steps, and I really didn't lead as I should have led. And I realize now that, you know, my boss, I didn't live up to his expectations. And there were some steps that I took where I said, you know, it's time for me to step out of where I was. And I was at an organization where my goal was to retire from it. And, you know, it's really helped me so much in my career, and just having that confidence and just being the leader that I can be. And the most important thing that I've learned is it's not about me. It's about, like you do with your whole mantra about the hotties and everything that you do as a person. It's about the people you can help. And if I can help, you know, with my career or with fitness or health or whatever, if I can empower, encourage, inspire others along the way, that's what it's all about.
Well, you certainly have, and you certainly are right now. I see eyes glued to this podcast, not moving, because you're such a great guest. So I do remember along your evolution as you were losing weight and becoming fitter and fitter, you started appearing on TV regularly for your job. And that was pretty cool to see your confidence on television. And then I'd also like you to discuss that seersucker suit.
Yeah, so I'll start with that. So you know, I live in Alabama, and we in the South, we have a few things that we hold dear to. We have a lot of things, actually. And one of the things, there's not very many fashion faux pas among men. One of them is you can't wear seersucker until after Easter. And I love my seersucker suit. And if you don't know what that is, it's like Matlock wore seersucker all the time. It's like a blue and white pinstripe suit. And it's something that's just, it's my grandfather used to wear them. My great uncle wore them. And I had this big goal to wear a seersucker suit one Easter. And the seersucker suit that I had was tailored to when I was thinner. And it was a huge goal of mine. So that was one of my big, like, stretch goals, to wear that seersucker suit in Easter, which was I think it was in April, you know, before my birthday in July. And then I reached that goal. And it's just having the confidence in the clothes you wear, and kind of pivot into the TV interviews in the organization that I was before. And I still do a lot of public speaking, but in the organization that I was before, I did a lot of TV interviews, and you've got to look nice to do that. So you wear suits. And as a heavier guy, I had like one sport coat, and I called it my Gibbs coat. So I don't know if you watch NCIS, but there's a guy named Leroy Jethro Gibbs, who is the main guy. Mark Harmon is who plays him. And I don't think he does. Well, he does sort of does it now. He wears like a sports coat, and it's like a tweed type of thing or something. But I had my one coat that I called the Gibbs coat. And, you know, this is a day in the life of Michael as the heavy guy. I got it at a Salvation Army or a thrift store or whatever it was, because I was just keeping on gaining so much weight that I couldn't go get fitted for a suit and feel comfortable and feel happy in it. So I got this sport coat that would cover me up so much. And thank you, Laura. And I got this sport coat that I called my Gibbs coat. And I would wear that to these TV interviews. And I felt kind of self-conscious about it. But as I lost weight, I wore my suit, and I got my suits tailored. I got them more, customized to how I looked then and how I look now. And I love doing it. I love, and having those kind of appearances.
Yeah, and it's so good to see you so confident in a place where you belong, because you're so filled with quality information, but you were finally able to put it out there, feeling good about yourself with a smile on your face. And as you were talking about buying the jacket and not wanting to invest too much because you knew you were going to likely grow out of it, it's a bit of a vicious cycle for an overweight person, because, in general, especially the overweight business person, first impressions are garnered within about 7 seconds.
Yep.
And so without you even getting to say hello or introduce yourself, people have already decided, they've decided, are you a energetic go-getter, or are you likely to be kind of weak and fatigued and so forth? And then, it's not only your presentation, your physique, but then if you're getting clothes that aren't even appropriate for you, how do you continuously make your best that first impression if your clothes aren't fitted well? And I've seen tons of overweight people who look absolutely beautiful because they've invested and they have things tailored or tapered for their own body. They've made good choices. But yeah, when you hate clothes, I remember I was 45 pounds overweight in high school, and just even 45 pounds made shopping miserable. And then I was dressing to hide my body as opposed to feature its best assets or flatter myself. It's a tricky situation.
It is, unfortunately. Yeah. And I remember I used to go to Walmart and shop because Walmart had these pants with expandable waist, with like an elastic waist that looked sort of dressy. And I had like 4 pairs of pants that I cycled through because they had that elastic waistband. And you're right. I mean, you can look very good as somebody who's not the ideal weight, but you've got to invest in that, and it's hard to.
Absolutely. And here's just a little sidebar tip I'm throwing out there is, if you are losing weight and you have shrunk out of your clothing, get rid of them immediately, because that is a really good motivator. When your pants don't fit and you don't have the backup pairs, and maybe you're wearing your 12s, but you still got 14s and 16s in the closet. No, they've got to go. Donate them. Someone else will enjoy them. Don't say, well, it's my favorite big outfit. Okay. Taper them, invest in having them tailored, but they've got to go, because when you have shrunk out of your clothing, you don't want any comfy, safe space waiting for you to gain weight again, right?
Yeah, it's that 5%. Like I said, you're 95% committed. It's that if you're not fully in, you're always looking for that loophole at some point. And I took that advice. You gave that to me, and I donated. I was trying to be a blessing to somebody else, and I did save 1 pair of pants because I wanted to see, and I put them on over the weekend, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, it's like you could fit, an arm into the
me. I could get in the pants with you.
Yeah, but it's good as a reminder. But I don't keep I do not have, like, at one time I would keep a box with my fallback clothes where it's like, yeah, I knew in my head I was going to gain the weight. Nope, don't do that. Don't go back.
Love it. I love it. And I do believe you will never go back. There's no way. And going back with the exact formula for weight loss, what I encourage people to do is keep track of the calories they've consumed throughout the day. It's just simple math, or you get an app for that. But it's consistency. When I find people log their calories, when they're serious about logging every bite they take, which isn't as hard as it sounds, it's actually not a colossal effort. But if you get to your weight loss goals, if you stop logging your calories, people tend to slide back because they're just starting to get reckless with their eating again. And you have not stopped logging calories. How many days in a row do you think you've logged your calories?
Yeah, it's like 1,500. I mean, it's way on up there. And people stress about the exact, and I know you call it the exact formula for a reason. I know it's there, and people stress about logging their exact calories. And I think that's the mental roadblock that people don't want to use. Like, I use MyFitnessPal. It's like, oh, I've got to count every single, measure this exactly. Well, yeah, you need to do that, but don't obsess to that level. Like, if you go to whatever restaurant it is, if you don't have the exact, like, that's fine. If it's 800 calories and you log it as 780, whatever, it's not going to be that big of a difference. But don't let that be a barrier to you taking action.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's quite a few others in the group who have lost almost 100 pounds. Some have lost over 100 pounds, and they've kept it off for years because they continue on with the habit of logging your calories. And so people are like, I don't like counting, or I don't like using the app. Okay, well, trust me, Michael, the burden of logging your calories every day, is that worse than the greatness of having this healthy new body?
Yeah, it's totally worth it to log that, and I'll keep logging. I know in my head how many calories most of the things I eat, because I probably eat Pareto principle. I probably eat the same thing 80% of the time, but I still log it just to keep myself accountable, and it's not hard.
No, it's not. And it's a fair price to pay to be the new Michael Jones. So going back to your running, and I know you've backed off running a bit because you have a foot issue, but for a while you were running many marathons, many half marathons, and you were doing so while carrying Old Glory, which is so magnificent. And I've actually got to witness that a couple times. So tell us about your race running and why you chose to run with the flag.
Yeah, that was super awesome. I love doing that. And this goes back to the patriotism. And there's a group that I got connected with called Flags for Fallen. And we run for the family to honor the lives of service members who died in the line of service. And I've lost count how many people I ran for, but I've run marathons, half marathons. I did an 8K, I think it was a 12K. They call it the South's toughest 12K here in Birmingham. But what I did was I connected with this group, and there are service members all across the country who have died while serving their country, whether it's overseas, domestically, whatever. Sadly, one of the things that I'm doing right now is to raise awareness about suicide among service members. And a couple of the folks that I ran for sadly took their own lives because when they're deployed, they go through so much that it weighs so heavily on them. And a couple of the folks I ran for, it was just too much. But one of the things I got connected with this group with was you get paired with somebody, or the family member of somebody who wants you to run for their service member, because a lot of times the service member will have the ceremony and they'll have the immediate things, and then it's kind of forgotten. And these service members' families, it's always going to leave a hole in their lives. And for some of them, they didn't get the full honors that they deserve and the full honors that they want. And so what Flags for Fallen did, and what we do is we run with the flag, and we run with a race for this service member, for their family. And you wear on your back or the front of your shirt like a placard with the service member's picture and their name and dates of service and when they passed away. And it's just a great way to run to honor these families. And I kind of took it an extra step. I love to connect with the families to learn a little bit more about them. And I've run for some really amazing folks to learn about what were they like as a person, how old were they, what did they enjoy, what were they known for, and it just honors them and the family. So I run with the flag, and it's either a 4x6 or a 3x5 flag that Anna Hotaling kind of helped me with that. There's a couple of other groups that do this too, but I run with a 4-foot PVC pipe that I have it attached to, and I run the entire race. And I try to run holding it as high as I can. There was a race that I ran a couple of years ago at the Pensacola Naval Air Station. It's called the Blue Angel half marathon, and I ran it for one of the Blue Angel pilots who was killed in a training exercise. And on that base, we passed a few Marines, and the Navy and Marines are the ones that support that race, and they were yelling, "Hey, hold that flag up high!" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, can't disappoint you Marines." So I love to do that, and it's just it fills me with so much joy, and it brings the family members so much honor, and it makes them so proud of their loved one. That I love doing that. And I present them with the flag and my medal.
That's right. Many of them are waiting for you at the finish line.
Yeah, that's been a touching experience. I've met a couple of the moms and the wives, and it's something else.
Yeah, well, it's a very vivid example of how freedom isn't free and how much incredible sacrifice goes into this extraordinary country. Not only our freedom, but freedom across the world. So yes, it matters. And I really appreciate the fact that you go out and do it, and it's been a great privilege to, welcome you home through your finish lines as you carry those flags, and to my benefit, have you come on my stages and hold the flag for the national anthem, which is just kind of the epitome of goodness, the live anthem and the race community. And there's Michael Jones holding up the American flag. It's pretty special. So I thought I would point that out. And if people are interested in also running in honor of one of our fallen troops, it's Flags for the Fallen.
Yeah, Flags, the number 4 Fallen, and there's a Facebook group that coordinates everything. You just let them know you want to run for somebody, and they'll match you up with somebody.
That's pretty extraordinary. So, what's next for you?
Well, so you mentioned I'm working through some injuries. So I tore my meniscus in my knee. I've got some issues going on with my foot too that are more so the foot is keeping me from running. So I've gotten into cycling and spinning, and I've got a Peloton bike. So I'm doing a lot more of that. And I've discovered I love to swim. So I went back to the gym, like I said, over the weekend, and swimming is hard. I mean, I know Robert Schultz and the Stefaniaks and Kim Sharoff is a new triathlete, and it's just, wow, I think I'm going to get more into swimming because that's definitely good on your knee and obviously on your foot. But I just, one of the things that your mantra is no excuses, and people could go through these kind of experiences. Like when I had my surgery on my knee or dealing with the foot issues, you can just say, well, to heck with this. I'm not going to, exercise anymore because I can't run. Well, maybe you can't run, but you can bike or you can swim or you can do something. And they're amputees. There are people who have severe issues that they've got going on, that they adapt and they do what they can. So I'm doing what I can.
Yeah, you're always doing what you can. And this is the reality, is when I took a bit of a nosedive last year with the cancer nonsense, it was, and I was able to do certain things, and then some things I just I wasn't able to get up for. And there was Michael Jones stepping up to the plate, serving as the greatest support system and a mentor to all the people in the Hottie Body Fitzness Challenge group. And, fitness has become not only such an important part of you, but such a passion that you mentor so many people now. And, I feel like you're my co-captain in the Hottie group, which I love. So tell us about you mentoring other grown-ups to a fitter lifestyle and what that means to you.
Yeah, that's just such a joy to see, and it's really cool to see the impact that you can have. And one of the things I sent to my team members at work was a book called The Butterfly Effect. And without getting into too much details, you never know the ripple effect, that the things that you do, the actions you take, you never know where it's going to end. And you can talk to somebody and impact somebody that they talk to their kids, they talk to their family, and that butterfly effect keeps going on and on. So it's really a joy for me to share what you gain from having a more fit life with other folks. And there are people who have joined the Hottie group who have just, it's taken like wildfire. And there are people who maybe take a few times to get through and to, recommit and gain a few pounds and come back, and gain a few pounds and come back. And it's just a joy for me to help to encourage and inspire anybody, because on the other side of this, there's so much freedom. And once you really see, you can accomplish this. Like if your goal is to weigh 180 or 150 or whatever it is, once you get there, you start to think, well, what's next? What can I do that I have set limits on myself that I can't do? And that's what I'm all about, is helping people to understand you can push beyond those boundaries, and the sky's the limit. I mean, we truly are living in a time and in a place and where you can do anything. So I love to encourage others.
Yeah, well, you are definitely a source of tremendous inspiration, which is why you're here today. Because I thought, people need to hear from Michael Jones. Now, is there anything you would like to add before we start to wrap this up?
Well, just take one of the things I'll reference is what I said kind of at the very beginning. You might see a group called the Hottie Body Fitzness Challenge, and maybe if you haven't taken the step to join that group and to follow what Fitz says, maybe you think that's not for me. Well, have a little courage and do that and join. Fitz will never ask you for any money. Like I buy, her shirts because I want to represent her. I buy her Get to Work shirts because I want to represent her and support her. She's got a book about not only beating cancer, but thriving because of cancer. So, there are things you can do to show your support for her, but she's never going to ask you. The advice you're going to get from Fitz, I mean, there are $1,000 per hour trainers who will give you, the same advice for a much heftier price tag. So take the steps, join the group, and commit. All it takes is one first step, and you're going to be on your way to success. We're gonna support you. We're going to encourage you.
Magical. You're magical, and I'm so lucky to have you. As you know, we all are. You're such a doll. So we're going to the lightning round questions, and we're going to start with, what's your favorite movie?
You know, I automatically would go to Star Wars, but I'm going to be honest. I really love The Karate Kid. If The Karate Kid is on anytime, anywhere, I'm going to watch it. I love Cobra Kai. The Karate Kid is just awesome.
Yeah, and tell everybody what you're watching every night on TV, which I love.
The Lost series.
No, you said you were watching Andy Griffith every night.
Oh yeah, that's an every night. So we set the sleep timer before we go to sleep. My wife Christine and I, shout out to Christine, but we choose not to watch the news. You can, whenever you watch the news, whatever your political beliefs are, the news that you get is filtered by somebody else, and it's their perspective. So we choose not to watch the news. We'll consume our information in other ways. So we watch the Andy Griffith Show as we're falling asleep every night. I've loved the Andy Griffith Show. I could probably quote many episodes by heart, but we choose to end our day with the Andy Griffith Show.
You will get zero nightmares from watching the Andy Griffith Show.
Nope.
Sure. All right. So Michael, if you had to go run a marathon playing one song over and over and over again, what song would it be?
It's going to be, so I think this is one of the things that I said when I talked to you several years ago, Right Now by Van Halen.
That's a great choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great choice. Who's your favorite singer?
I'm probably going to default to a Christian band called Casting Crowns. But if it was just straight up pop singer, right now I'm on a Pink binge. I like the singer Pink. Jennifer Blumetti and Timothy Powell and I, when we ran the Star Wars race a few years ago, we actually saw Pink in Hollywood studios, and I didn't recognize her. Yeah, she was with an entourage. She had like 3 bodyguards, and she had her daughter with her, and she's really, you can pick her out from anywhere because of her tattoos. But I really like Pink now. She's really a great singer. I like her songs, and she's got some great beats.
Yeah, she does. She's very talented. And I got to tell you, as my hair was growing out, I was looking at Pink pics. So I was like, okay, she can pull off short blonde hair. So let me see how she does it. And she's also very beautiful and athletic. And
sure is, yeah.
Interesting gal. All right, who was your first Hollywood crush?
I don't know. First Hollywood crush, probably Molly Ringwald back in the 80s.
That's super cute.
Yeah.
Some very cute answers. Everybody has, they go around. Yeah. And what's your favorite healthy dish? If we were going to what's your go-to?
Fish, seafood and fish. I love, like growing up on the coast. I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, and one of the things I'd miss about being landlocked where we are in Birmingham is fresh seafood, fish of any kind. Love fish.
All right, and last but not least, your quick advice for someone who's sitting here watching this that is painfully overweight and doesn't know what to do. What's the first?
You're worthy. I mean, one of the things that I go back to my meeting with Fitz at the bakery. I was shy. I was timid. I didn't think I was worthy of the body that I have right now. You absolutely are. It all starts with one simple decision. You just got to make one decision that you want to change. And if you take steps to act on that decision, join the Hottie group, get out there and be active, watch what you eat, embrace the exact formula for weight loss, one step at a time, but you are worthy of that success.
Michael, you're magical. You're one of my favorite people on the planet, and I am so grateful you introduced yourself at the bakery that day. I feel like I'm the pure beneficiary of that. I'm sorry you've had to put up with all my bossiness and noisiness and pinches and so forth, but you're one of the greatest gifts to me. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all that you do for so many people. You're just such a kind soul, and you're going to impact millions.
I'm working on it every day, but poster boy, post checks in the mail.
Yes, I'll take it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Oh, and if everyone wants to connect with Michael on social media, where can they do that?
See, I'm hanging out a lot more on LinkedIn these days. Look for Michael C. Jones, or I'm on Facebook too. I'm pretty regular there, just Michael C. Jones. But you can definitely find me on Facebook in the Hottie group. Excellent.
And Michael's a great mentor. He come join the Hotties, and he will be there. Thank you to everyone who watched. If you haven't already done so, follow Mike Follow me. I'm at Fitzness right over there on all social media platforms. And I'd love to hear about your success stories too. So don't just follow, say hi, interact. Let's be friends, right?
Let's be friends.
All right. And now you got to tell them what to do, Mike. Tell them get
to work.
Get to work, everyone. Bye.